Just announced. Princess Leonor's first statement as a married royal, first words now public. The great halls of Europe's palaces have always been filled with ceremony, tradition, and the carefully chosen words of monarchs. But few could have predicted this. After the breathtaking wedding of Princess Leonor, the future Queen of Spain, her very first public words as a married royal have just been revealed. And they are nothing like what the world expected. For centuries, newly married royals have spoken in polished tones, reciting gratitude, duty, and promises to serve. Yet Leonor's words were startlingly personal, raw with emotion, and filled with a love and strength that broke through the rigid protocols of monarchy. In that moment, she wasn't just a princess or a queen in waiting, she was a woman, newly married, stepping into history with her heart wide open. What exactly did she say? And why have her first words sent shockwaves across Spain, Denmark, the United Kingdom, and beyond? To understand the weight of this moment, we must begin with the days leading up to the wedding itself. The anticipation was electric. Spain stood still as its future queen prepared to marry, an event that was not only about romance but about continuity, stability, and power. Every detail, the gown, the venue, the guest list, was analyzed, whispered about, and speculated upon. But no detail carried more weight than the first words Leonor would speak after exchanging vows. In monarchies, words can shape the course of history, spark alliances, or heal divisions. When the ceremony concluded and the newlyweds stood before the gathered royals and dignitaries, all eyes were on Leonor. Her father, King Felipe, and mother, Queen Letizia, watched with pride, yet tension too. The monarchy's reputation has been tested in recent years, and this wedding was more than a union, it was a chance to renew faith in the crown. And then, Leonor spoke. Instead of a rehearsed line approved by advisors, she chose words of her own. She spoke of love, of gratitude, and of courage. She addressed the Spanish people directly, acknowledging the weight of their expectations but also affirming her humanity. She called her husband not only her partner in life but her partner in service to the nation. She promised not perfection, but authenticity. And perhaps most shockingly of all, she spoke of unity, not only within Spain, but across Europe, gesturing to the royals of Denmark and Britain who were seated just steps away. Her voice trembled at first, then grew steady, carrying the conviction of someone who knows that every syllable will echo in history books. The hall fell silent. Some dignitaries blinked in surprise, others smiled faintly, realizing they were witnessing the birth of a new kind of queen. But why was this so shocking? Because royals are expected to be guarded, careful, almost untouchable. Leonor broke through that barrier. She showed vulnerability and resolve in the same breath, a combination rarely seen in monarchy. And by doing so, she drew Spain closer to her, not just as their heir, but as their daughter, their sister, their voice of hope. The reaction was immediate. Outside the palace, cheers erupted. On social media across Spain, her words trended for days, with citizens young and old calling her speech the voice of a generation. Commentators in Britain and Denmark drew comparisons to past royal speeches, noting that few had ever struck such an intimate tone. Her parents' reactions spoke volumes. King Philippe's face softened with relief, knowing that his daughter had bridged the gap between tradition and modernity in a way he never fully managed. Queen Letizia's eyes glistened with tears, not of duty, but of maternal pride. Infanta Sofia, Leonor's younger sister, leaned toward her in quiet solidarity, knowing the bond of family would be crucial in the years to come. And what of her husband? He stood silently at her side, his expression one of quiet admiration, as though he too knew the world had just witnessed something extraordinary. The vows they exchanged minutes earlier had been sacred, but these words, her first public ones as a married royal, were transformative. But here lies the curiosity loop. What happens next? Will Leonor continue to embrace this tone of openness, reshaping the monarchy into something more human, more relatable? Or will palace advisors step in, urging her to temper her words, to retreat back into polished, careful speeches? The balance between authenticity and duty has always defined monarchies, and Leonor has set the stage for a fascinating struggle between the two. The international community is watching closely. British commentators, recalling the struggles of Diana and the evolution of Kate and Meghan, wonder if Leonor has opened a door she may later find difficult to keep open. In Denmark, where Prince Christian has grown up under similar scrutiny, parallels are already being drawn between the young royals who may one day rule side by side as monarchs of neighboring nations. And Spain itself. The people feel closer to their princess than ever before. For years, debates about the monarchy's relevance have divided the nation. But in one heartfelt statement, Leonor gave them a reason to believe in its future, not as a relic of the past, but as a living, breathing institution that can evolve with the times. Her first words as a married royal may seem small compared to the grandeur of the wedding, the jewels, and the ceremonies. Yet history teaches us that sometimes it is the smallest moments, the quietest words, that leave the deepest mark. Leonor's words have now become part of Spain's royal story, a story not of rigid duty, but of a young woman embracing love and leadership in equal measure. And so, the announcement of her first statement is not merely news, it is the dawn of a new chapter. Princess Leonor's words were not just heard. They were felt. They were lived. And they will echo long after the music of her wedding fades. Because in that moment, she showed us that behind every crown, there beats a human heart, daring to love, daring to lead, and daring to speak.